After watching the following cited News 12 Bronx report, the nightmare before Christmas began. And I couldn't stay silent. Silent night, holy night. This elf had to lay out the receipts to expose, educate, and shut down this mess of disinformation and outright lies from those on the naughty list this year, because Santa's busy, and I'm the one checking the list twice. It seems I am the only one who's been watching and remembers anything. Who else wants to pay attention to the circus when it's Christmas time? So, let's begin. Since October 23, this board has been on a mission to silence, block, and stigmatize the very community they claim to serve in these so-called voluntary advisory roles, by creating rules, avoiding proper procedures, and shutting up those who dissent from them. What follows is a deep dive into how the Bronx Corruption Board 11, Bronx Caca Board 11, Bronx Community Board 11 has spent over a year obsessing over this infamous 36-hour rule while ignoring what actually matters, the people they represent. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the Bronx, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The headlines were hung by the news with the glare, in hopes that the truth would lay scandals bare. When out on the streets there arose such a clatter, it's Scrooge with his receipts, serving tea on a platter. From October last year to this holiday night, corruption and chaos are dragged to the light. So bundle up tight, the frost's starting to bite. When the ice finally cracks, who survives the fight?
New rules regarding participation in weekly meetings at one Bronx Community Board, and some say their voices are being stifled. News 12's Marissa Santarelli has more from Pelham Parkway.
A 40-year protocol changed.
Any questions, comments?
Without a full board vote.
This is disgraceful.
Full board meetings for Community Board 11 no longer have a show up and speak up policy. Speakers now have to fill out a form online 36 hours in advance.
When we have a lot of senior citizens in the neighborhood, to force them to sign up at least 36 hours, it's an inconvenience.
Some say this is an attempt to silence louder voices, but Diana Finch says this will bring structure to more heated meetings.
A necessary reaction to an abuse of the system that we've seen several times.
So we reached out to Community Board 11. They sent us a statement saying, in part, the protocol is intended to streamline the meeting process. If not properly managed, meetings can be and have been frustratingly lengthy and time-consuming. But some say it's less about time and more about control.
And we're being controlled by who can speak, how long they can speak, and what they can speak about.
Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson was asked about this very issue on our program Ask the Borough President.
Any proposal that is put forth by any of the committees, whether it's the bylaws committee or any other committee, has to be voted on and approved by the full board. Those are the rules. And so any violation of that is not productive, and that's not in line with what our community board should be doing.
So if you want your voice to be heard at the next meeting, here's how. Go to the Community Board 11 website and click here on the contact button. Then select where it says request speaking time, and right there you'll find the form to fill out. In Pelham Parkway, Marissa Santarelli, News 12, the Bronx.
All right, Marissa, thank you.
Right, I'm just updating the agenda based on the last meeting. Well, this isn't the minutes, but I'll tell you, we had 19 speakers.
Right, and they're all talking about the same topic, so is there not a way we can do something different next time?
We once discussed years ago, or a while ago, that if you had a group, like from, say, the Friends of Pelham Parkway, that one or two people would talk, but you don't know that. So maybe you should ask when they call in, what group do you represent?
So what we did was the people who wanted to speak had to fill out a slip. And Jeremy took the slips and looked through the slips
Yeah,
And if they were the same, they'd have either, say, one person would be speaking for.
yeah, but then how come it didn't happen this time?
If they don't all put down or if they're with their certain.
But you have to ask, maybe that's what you have to say.
When they're
Must
filling
be
it out.
found.
But it was the same, look, it says.
Oh, hold on.
Jeremy,
On Parkway.
on your end, can you,
Well, let's look at, can you see my screen?
Yes.
can you make it a little bit bigger?
Yeah, of course.
And then I'll make it a little bit bigger on this end. I just don't want to cut off everything.
Can you see it now? Better?
Better, thank you.
All right, so you have Gloria Russo, Friends of Pelham Parkway. You have, I think you have another person that registered to speak, Friends of Pelham Parkway. These are people registered online or in advance. They called somehow, something like that, because some people are not tech savvy. So we should only allow one person per organization. So Veronica's meeting last night, for example, you had 2 CUNY students. At least that was the organization they put down. So I grouped them together. How did that work out last night, Veronica?
Worked out well, very well.
Okay.
Did they come in with a bill that they want?
Same thing.
It was the same bill, so one spoke for like a minute, the other one spoke for a minute, and it was short and concise, but it worked
They
out
were
well.
supposed to come to the health meeting, yeah.
Oh,
And one of them waited, but then she went out because it was, the health meeting was on.
yeah.
But okay.
So yeah, before COVID, we used to group them together, and we can still do that for like you got this example here, these 2 people. We could do that or attempt to do that. I'll attempt to do that. We'll attempt to do that before, especially if they, they register online or if they come up in person.
Jeremy, we'll look at the number of people that want to speak. Usually people get 2 minutes. If there's a few, we'll give them 3. If there's that many, give them a minute.
A minute.
Well, that was the thing, they were
try to
speaking for
take it.
2 minutes and.
I don't know if you could stop people. People want to get up and say something. I think it would be wrong to not allow them to speak.
Yeah, but after a while, you
Well-
can't understand what's going on. Like,
One
after a while, the same thing is being said.
There's another thing we can do.
They represent.
We could also limit questioning by the board members if there are too many. And I don't like to do that because everybody may want to get more information. But if you end up having 20 speakers and you can't, and each one is going individually, do we want to limit questioning?
Well, can we consider removing so we allow for 4 questions or comments per speaker. Why do we need to comment? Why does there need to be commentary? Like if you really know how to get your point across, you can form in the way of a question. But I think
I have another thought. Why can't we say gallery session, 25 minutes? Leave it at a time, 30 minutes, that's it. And we're saying, look, we only have 30 minutes. We're setting it aside. We're on a time frame. So if several of you have the same thing, group it.
Right.
Other boards basically do it like 10 people, 3 minutes each, and that's it.
So 30 minutes, okay.
No, maybe we limit the people.
Right.
Yeah.
We asked them
We've
at
tried
the
to do that.
beginning, if you are from the same organization, if you're speaking on the same topic, please choose one speaker. Everyone can stand with them, but one
I've
person
done
will
that
speak.
before. One person would speak because
Yeah.
they were saying the same.
Right, they were
topic.
talking all about the bike path. Which,
Yeah,
in the
I'm
end, my
ready to
son was
rent a
on it,
truck.
and he got caught in a rut and fell and injured himself. The next day I said, oh, we were just.
Yeah, we can ask them to pick one speaker.
Yeah.
Everybody can stand there. They can all be represented by
Yeah.
standing there, but pick one main speaker.
Right, or 2, just in
Yeah.
case.
We had that one time with regards to Van Ness, we had 12 people and one person spoke.
Right.
What ends up happening is
Yeah,
that
they're giving the
people will
group-
just, hold on, I think if folks would just individually speak, they'll just say, I'm not part of Friends of whatever, they'll just have their own opinions.
Speaking
Just
on the
something to
same
think about.
topic.
Right,
Yeah, so just something to think about.
they can say, someone already said what I wanted
Right.
to say, thank you. So you gave them the opportunity to speak, and they just said someone else, if they were not from the same group.
Jeremy,
Other
the
people.
sorry, Jeremy, were most of these speakers registered beforehand or did they register the day of?
The ones on the agenda registered beforehand.
Yeah, and the last meeting,
That's what we have to stick to too.
you know, we used to set a time, 24 hours or
Jeremy, if you're
36
talking,
hours
we can't
before.
hear you, just an FYI.
Oh yeah, thank you. We had 11 people register in advance of the meeting. So that's before the meeting, right? Not this. So then if that's 11 and we had 19 total, that means 8 people signed up in person.
Well, then maybe if they have to sign up in advance, 24 hour, whatever it might be, whatever what number we decide on, ahead of time, there'll be no signing up at that day of the meeting.
Right.
Yeah, we could. I've been, since we started going back in person, I've been a lot more lenient in terms of when people are allowed to sign up. But I don't have to take, so our bylaws do have a cutoff at, I think, 36 hours. And I can be much more strict on this.
Well,
And I'm not saying for in person, I'm talking about for online registrants.
well, maybe it's the management of it, right? So like we had 19 people speak about the same topic. After 3 or 4 people speaking about or 2 people speaking about the same topic, maybe we should ask at that point, who else is speaking about this? And then we'll
have to write it down.
Right. And
Yeah,
do you
you
have
know, and make
anything
a motion.
different to
Yeah,
add?
there's something
Well,
else to say, because it's like, it was really crazy. Yeah.
So one thing that we can do, Chris is in the
no,
meeting,
go
right?
ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
So when Chris gets the slips, if he sees that somebody is already speaking about the same topic, he could try to stop them. I mean, it's hard. Maybe Harry can help him out, because when the board members are coming and everybody's chit-chatting at the table. Chris, what do you think? Do we want to try to stop some of these people at the slips and ask them if they know each other, if they don't mind talking, if they're going to talk about the same thing?
Everybody that comes over there has an attitude. No, I want to speak, they'll say.
Yeah, you know what,
The
Jeremy?
best way how to do it is that when they start talking about the topic, then one of you guys can ask, is anybody else about the same issue? Yes. Are you against it? Yes. Raise your hands. Yes. Okay, let's go. Done deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see what, in the bylaws, I'm looking, it said, for full remote board meetings, gallery session speakers must register with board at least 36 hours in advance, but it's nothing about a hybrid meeting.
Okay, so hold on. So the way I can interpret that, or correct me if I'm wrong, if they're going to show up remotely, they have to register 36 hours in advance.
Correct.
If they don't, we cut them off. We don't allow it. So
Yeah.
I can probably cut 1 or 2 people that way.
And again, you have to make it known obviously at the full board meeting and make it known tonight, so anybody that's remote or that's here knows it in advance. So if you want to register, you have to register within 36 hours. And then again,
think about,
if they register in advance, Jeremy, you'll know how many people are registered to speak. If there's more than a handful, then you limit it, instead of 2 minutes, you go to 1.5 minutes or a minute if you have to. And if there's only a few people, give them 3 minutes.
Well,
yeah,
actually,
and I know Bernadette. Go ahead.
Right, so I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So I know in the past, Bernadette proposed limiting it to half an hour of the gallery. That's what Community Board 8 has always done.
Yeah.
And Community Board 10.
You
Some
don't
Yeah.
want,
That's unwritten though with Community Board 10. I looked at their bylaws. It
you
doesn't.
just don't want to take away from anybody's right to say something if they have something to say.
Well, you got to remember, we're also very liberal with our committee meetings.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, Community Board 10 doesn't allow people to speak in committee.
Yeah, they're observers.
And I was under I thought that we had to in the past. Like Ken and I had these issues in the past when people complain about not speaking. But again, supposedly they don't have to speak in committee.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool.
But we allow it. We allow every committee, we have a gallery session. It's in our bylaws.
Why don't we do this? And if there's no objection. 36 hours in advance, they have to register to speak. If you see that there's a number of speakers more than, let's say 10, instead of 2 minutes, we'll give them 1.5 minutes. If there's 3 or 4, that'll be up to the chair. How many minutes, for the speaker? They have 3 minutes today, 2 minutes today.
Yeah, but what about Malcolm? Do you have anything on it? How would you work it?
I would do a 30-minute time limit.
You would do what?
A 30-minute time limit.
30 minute time limit, okay.
Yeah, because our bylaws allow for 2 minutes per speaker.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just gonna say that the bylaws mandate basically 2 minutes per speaker.
And
But,
plus,
but if you think about that, we could at the very least, if you have what, 10, no, how many people is that? 10, 2 minutes, 15 speakers at most. That's a half an hour.
there are boards that don't even have a gallery.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
But
Well,
since
that's probably illegal, but
well, since we read open meetings law so liberally, we allow it in every single meeting.
no, I
So
meant for full board. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, we give the public a chance to speak no matter what.
Yeah.
So a 30-minute limit at the full board helps us be a little more efficient.
Yeah, we're not trying to quiet anyone. We're not trying not to let anyone. We're trying to make sure that everyone gets to speak, but also that we're not sitting there till 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Right.
Because there's so much going on. So we want to hear from the people, but we also want to make it an efficient meeting.
Right.
We don't want to make it a long, drawn out.
And we could, and Malcolm could say that at the beginning of the thing. We are now, because of what happened at the last meeting, we ran so many hours overboard. We are trying to be more efficient, and we are going to have 30 minutes in the gallery session. And if there are several people with the same ideas, maybe get your act together and let one person speak.
Because now we
So
have
is that-
to leave at 9:45.
Yeah, so,
we
yeah.
gotta get,
So,
we have a
I mean, that's part of his job, and this way they'll know. And it's.
So is that so I just want to clarify, is that 30 minutes total or just initial speaking time?
So the,
Total.
Gallery session.
Gallery session.
so in the
Ladies
first,
and gentlemen, if you do the math, 2 minutes, it's 15 people. It's not the problem about the 2 minutes that the people is going to speak to the public. It's the problem that, no offense, but the members of the board asking question after question after question, that's what prolongs it.
I believe in the bylaws that we're only supposed to have 4 questions from the committee, from.
Reduce it to 2.
But the bylaws say they may respond. We don't have to have questions. We don't have to allow questions.
Yeah, that may gives you the out.
Well, also too, some of us like to say, "Oh, can you please finish what you were going to say?" We don't have to do that either.
if the gallery session is gonna be limited to 30 minutes, and we have questions from the board members, that it might be 3 people speaking, and then you're gonna cut it off.
Yeah.
Because once you ask a question, they have a right to respond. So 4 questions and a response. So
Yeah, that's not gonna
It's
leave.
gonna
a
be a
lot.
very long half hour.
Well, I think if the
Of the going back and forth.
if folks on the board know, hey, we have 30 minutes, we all have to stick together and, share in that pain. It's 30 minutes and done and move on.
Well, the other thing too is we
I
need
support
to
the 30 minutes, by the way.
we also should limit the amount of response time. We leave that unlimited currently. Like,
Well, that's why we said the 4 questions or whatever.
well, I know, but the 4
Think about it.
questions is unlimited.
4 questions, if it takes a minute apiece for the 4 questions, that's 4 minutes. If the response is a minute again, that's another 4 minutes, that's 8 minutes. All right, so you're limiting the time, and that, if the question's a minute, sometimes we ask a question and we talk 15 minutes about the question. So a lot of it's all, burden is on us also.
So can we set a time limit for the 4 questions and comments? No more than a minute, 2 minutes. What do you think?
Can we lower that to 2 questions?
I'll be honest with you. I'll be very honest with you. I feel like if you have a question in regards to what's being said from that member, you can just reach out to the staff, and that question or issue can be directed to the chair of whoever committee goes there. And then they can figure it out at the committee meeting.
Oh, you mean you're saying, let's say someone has something with the health committee.
Right.
So they would come to me or to Joanne as chair and co-chair, and we could discuss it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's okay.
Because normally how it should go is that they should go to that committee and figure it out there. But since a lot of people don't do that, they come to the full board meeting, and that inundates it.
Yeah, but one problem, if we meet hybrid, we can't always vote on something because we don't have a quorum. Like, we wanted to write a letter of support for, and Rich will back me up, that, for the blood center, to say that, we're in favor of this blood center. but we couldn't do it. So we said we'd have to do it at the leadership meeting.
Right.
Whereas if we did it right then and there, we would just go before the full board and saying, you know, we're asking for a letter of support and we've all agreed.
Let's
on
come up with a system. If you want 30 minutes, we could do 30 minutes, but you have to also limit our questions, the amount of time it takes us to ask the question, and limit them, how long it would take them to answer the question. Otherwise, it becomes ludicrous.
2 questions from the board members and just basically ask them to be brief in their, in
Yeah.
their ask.
What we did though, we used to have limited to 2 questions, but then we ended up expanding it to 4
it.
questions.
It's 4, but
And I
no
think now
time
it's just
restrictions. There's no time restriction. That's it.
And you shouldn't have to ask 2 questions to every single person that speaks if they're all speaking on the same topic.
Or maybe if you really have a question of that person and you're the chair of whatever committee they're talking about, saying, you know what, I'll talk to you on a side.
So I have an idea, right? So we should move on, right? I heard you.
Right.
But how about, I think that we need to find a good balance, and that's what we're all trying to do. So how about when we report out, right? Our own reporting, right? We just keep in mind the amount of time that we are going to take, so that can shorten, because it's important to hear from the public. And you know, we have a very active community, so maybe we can get more time from that.
I agree with that.
I agree.
But
We
also,
had also, I'm sorry, Sandy,
I'm
at one
sorry.
time, we had this made an
You say the same
agreement that if we didn't have anything to report, then we would just let it go.
Okay.
And if it was just a matter of saying this is this and this is what happened and make it quick. That's why my treasury report is always, I've submitted the treasury report. If you have
And
any
we can
questions,
do the
come back to
same.
me.
Wait, Sandy, wait. What we should do is everybody should take the minutes, put them in the envelopes, so that when the person comes up, I look at the minutes, I see the minutes to, well, transportation or sanitation, I see it. There's no reason for you to get up there and say, okay, economic development, and go through the whole 9 yards. It's there, it's right in front of me, I've seen it, I don't have to.
Right, unless a motion
we
needs
used
to
to
be.
do that all the time.
Right, yeah, I mean, economic development,
We did it all the time.
Did that.
Yeah.
Everybody.
That's what I wanted to say.
there's no reason for us to speak if we don't have to.
Right, say, look at my minutes.
Okay, guys.
So does somebody want to make a motion to limit the gallery for half an hour?
Everybody used to submit their minutes, and it was included in the envelopes that were given out to everybody.
How you doing, Jane?
Everybody had everybody's minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, what about redirecting the public to the commit, like Malcolm was saying, redirect the public to the committees that handle that issue? And we bring it to the board for vote. That's what should be happening.
What was Serena's idea?
So,
What was your
again,
idea?
That's it.
I said that each committee could be just held to like a certain amount of minutes. So whatever we're gonna be reporting, we all, each chair just keeps in mind that we're reporting high level items within 2 minutes. Now, if there, and just like we say to the public or the gallery session, if there is something that's gonna take a little bit longer, maybe we hold ourselves accountable in the same way. I'm gonna need an extra minute. So we can shave off that and then still not completely take away from the gallery.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to write it.
Sure.
Thank you.
On a separate thing, just as a reminder, if you are part of the committee and you are remote, please put your cameras on. Thank you.
If you want to be counted towards,
all right, let's just.
Did we come to a agreement on this? I don't know.
Yeah, let's solidify something before we go on to something else. So we agree on 30 minutes. Is there a problem with that? All right, 30 minutes and
2 questions
2 questions from the board members.
and limiting committee.
I'm sorry, can we have a gallery before you do a motion first?
Yeah, we can make the motions later on. Let's
Yeah.
just be prepared to write that down now, Al.
We'll make sure that he addresses that right away.
And limit committee.
All right, and the other thing, as far as the committee goes, our committee report should be the minutes going into the person's folder, so we don't have to get up there and talk about our committee meetings. It's right there. We did the meet, unless there's something outstanding.
urgent that
we-
happened.
Like economic development, there's
Right,
always
that's
something to
different.
bring
Yeah,
up.
always something.
Everybody needs to get their minutes in before.
Right.
the
But we,
committee.
some of us do, Some of those minutes just don't make it on time.
So if we publish it online, being that most people have a smartphone nowadays, do we really need to go back to printing everything like we used to and wasting a lot?
Yes, 30-second warning. So my first issue is regarding the HPD letter. I keep sending emails to the CB11 staff unanswered. Was my
So
I guess
Hazel,
I'll
I
hold
know
on.
you wanted to.
I don't know if you got my emails then. No, I
Please
said.
pause my time because it's eating my time.
Okay.
Hold on.
I
Time
just
out,
don't
time
want to
out.
lose my time since I only have 2 minutes.
One second. What's going on? Can you guys?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
All right.
Go ahead, Roxanne.
I'm glad we started time back because that was crazy. Roxanne, I apologize.
Okay, I
You ready?
appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, I'll wait for answers at the end. My first question is the HPD letter. Second question is the motion for the 30 minutes. First of all, I'm against it. I find it so sad that this community board continues to limit public discussion. A community board and elected, including one that just lost her election, is only as strong as their community. If a community is not strong, the community board and elected is not strong. If the community board and elected not strong, the community is not strong. It is constantly trying to disempower the public from public input. Is just going to backfire on you because when you need help, you're going to see crickets there because no one's going to back you up. Because it's sad that you want to limit public input. Public knows what's best. And I gave you guys so much information regarding 7-Eleven and Lighting that none of you had known because you don't happen to live in that area. I do. I see everything there. So I had that information and I shared it, showing that there is a relationship and affiliation with the old parties and the new parties. In fact, some of them are still the same individuals. But I feel, and regarding my complaint, I know I spoke to BP. I'm not even going to address it here because that was not done neutrally. It was done with inherent biases, and it should be done neutrally. Maybe it's just like when we have conflict of interest, that was not done professionally. There was a chat discussed as being vile, disgusting. That was not the case. I send you the chat. People were denigrating that chat without the chat in their hands. So I thought that was very, very unfair. But my main point is regarding the 30 minutes, that should go into bylaws. How could it go to full board? Usually you go to the bylaws to change how the board holds its meetings. And then second, regarding HPD letter, that's been very important to me. And I'm going to say the community board should really think if you're trying to keep attacking to get public input, it's just going to backfire you. The community board is not going to have any strength in numbers, that I can guarantee you, because the public does not like being shut down. All right, enjoy your evening because I'm in the pet store buying something. So bye.
Thank you, Roxanne.
Roxanne? Are you still there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I had sent Jeremy an email. He may not have gotten it because there's something going on in my email, but I had sent him an email to send the letter as you wrote it. So I will follow up.
I'd like to thank you for that. Thank you.
Okay, I'll follow up tomorrow to make sure they do it.
Yeah, no, if
That's much appreciated because it's been over 3 weeks and I want to get this addressed because that is unaffordable. That's something that no one addressed, and it's just upsetting how the community was not fought for. But I'll address that in your housing committee. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry, Hazel. So if you want to follow up tomorrow, you can.
Okay, yeah, do that for me. Thank you.
What else?
So under old business or under gallery, Al, if you want. I mean, I don't know if you want to, since Bob brought up about disseminating false information,
Wait,
Where's motion?
Before we go there, the motion that we made.
Oh yeah.
That being discussed.
Motions.
Okay, so
Andy, you have a motion that you want to.
Oh, I wanted, yes, with the blood center. I want to make the motion again that we send a letter telling the blood center that we are in support of their search for setting up.
So before we start with the gallery, I know we discussed it leadership, and I think we were going to finalize it before we started the gallery. We discussed, I think we all agreed at leadership to limit the gallery to a half an hour. And I think to be fair to everybody signed up, if we let everybody speak first before we ask questions, make comments. I don't know if that's okay with the board here. We run through that as much as possible to be fair to everybody who registered to speak. We have online registrants and then we have a lot of in-person registrants. So if we can start with the online registrants, I'm going to give you a microphone, Mr. Press, since you're the first. And you will keep it on the table there. Hold on, Bob. So Malcolm, tell us when you're ready.
You ready, Bob?
Yep. All set.
All right ahead.
Last Thursday, I informed.
Next is Manuel Martinez. Just letting you guys know he's our last speaker as we have 2 minutes left. Thank you. Manuel, can you please start, please? Thank you. We have a 9:45 cutoff. Please, if all right, I understand and I understand. Oh no, ma'am, I understand. I apologize. We have a 9:45 cutoff. Let me finish. 9:45 cutoff. If you have anything that needs to be addressed, please email the community board and we will address it. Manuel, please start.
Hold on. Could you just wait that part of that? Excuse me. 7:54 p.m. last night is well after all these people on this registration slip. Okay? Okay, I understand, but I'm sorry, there's a limit to how much I can pay attention to all the online registration.
Time. Manuel, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm representing the 3 libraries in the community. We would like to be, and that's the whole thing to be one.
Okay.
Rich Reynoso wants to say.
Is that the end of our speakers?
So Rich Reynoso, hold on.
Okay,
Rich Reynoso wants to say something, Bernadette. Hold on.
of course.
No. No, we can't. It will not be recorded, will not be in the minutes. What's the point of it if you can't have it in the minutes, right?
I make a motion to allow Roxanne 2 minutes to have her statement.
So
the issue, 1 second, whoa. We did agree.
I made a motion.
I know, but the issue is there's a whole list of speakers.
I
And
hear
if you
you.
make a motion, make the exception, we have to give everybody the same courtesy.
I'm making a motion.
Over this, let her speak for her 2 minutes.
So no. A motion is made.
Let her speak.
No. A motion's made.
I second.
It's seconded. Now it's open for discussion. Who wants to speak?
The issue here is that we have a whole list of speakers, right?
I made a
we
motion.
have a I know, but it's in discussion. We have a 9:45 cutoff. You guys understand that? Okay.
Hello.
Hold on.
Excuse me.
Let Janice
Hello.
go.
Hello.
Excuse me, that
You have more speakers?
That cutoff was not voted on by the majority of the board.
How many more?
It came up in
Look
leadership,
at all the time we're wasting.
but it didn't pass, the full
If
board.
I'm speaking, if I have the floor, you're gonna listen.
Okay.
We can sing together, but we're not gonna talk together, those online and those in this room, okay? Now, everyone, kindly go with what's going on. A motion was made, let's deal with it, all right?
So this to allow, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excuse me, you're interrupting the meeting. You will be asked to leave if you continue. Please stop. So you have 5 other, in addition to Ms. Delgado, you have 4 other speakers. The motion is for one of these 5 speakers to speak. Any other discussion? Otherwise, we just have a vote.
Yeah, Jeremy?
Yes. One wants the 4. One of 5.
Time. We are wasting time
hold on.
here.
Hold on.
I think, you'll have to excuse me, but I think the chair can allow, can the chair allow the 2 minutes?
So Al wanted to say
You allow
something. I
one,
believe.
you're gonna need to
Yeah.
allow all.
Hold on,
Excuse me.
one person at a time. One person at a time, please. Al D'Angelo,
Yeah,
please speak.
it passed in leadership, but it didn't pass by the full board. So that rule doesn't go into effect until the full board votes on it, the 30-minute rule.
All right, well, right now the motion is for one of the 5 speakers that registered in person. Jeanette, next.
The structure was given at the beginning of the meeting and no one objected to it. We're now to the point in the meeting where we have 5 people that did not get a chance to speak, but one person who has been very vocal necessitated a motion that we're then saying, okay, we're allowing this one person the 2 minutes, but not the other 4, which does not seem fair or equitable. And we still have a hard stop at 9:45 with a lot of important things to get to that involves the entire community. And it seems as if we are wasting time for something that if it was objected to, should have been objected to in the beginning when it was stated that there would be a 30-minute deadline. Thank you.
I would like to, as chair, I would like to say that we give each person a minute and a half to speak so that everybody has a chance to speak without bringing us over a large period of time.
If that's the call that you want to make, I think that is
Well,
fair.
no, hold on. A motion is,
Gotta go.
sorry, a motion is on the floor. We're just,
Okay.
Thank you.
okay, motion is retracted. Sorry.
I got
Okay?
Stephen Glasser was next on the list.
So are we timing for a minute and a half,
All
Malcolm?
right, cool. Say that again?
Are we timing for a minute and a half?
Yes, I am
Well,
timing.
I recommend we vote on that.
It's fine. It's
Okay,
fine. It's fine.
Don't
It's
you
fine.
agree?
It's fine.
Don't you agree? Okay.
Please, just go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay? No, I just want to make it official. Here,
Guys, just let it.
there you go.
Just please give me a warning so I can finish what I'm saying.
Where's the other microphone?
Hi, Roxanne Delgado, Friends of Pelham Parkway. And thank you for the motion. Here to discuss 7-Eleven Leidig, the cannabis dispensary application. To make this short, I have sent emails today to the Chris Kirk. I was hoping sent to all the board members and to the Veronica Castro showing I'm not against the location, I'm against the applicants. They have been running an unlicensed dispensary since July of this year. Why reward bad behavior? They actually impeded in renting it to a licensed dispensary on Williamsbridge Road, Freshly Bake, sorry. And now I have documents showing that it's the same players. So I'm hoping you object to it and let OCM say that we don't object to the location, but we're not certain if the applicant is not the same applicants that have been running an unlicensed smoke shop since July. This is a very important issue because we're rewarding bad behavior. People waiting in line. I'm not against smoke shops or cannabis retail, but we have to do it the right way. There's a reason why there's procedure. We must allow people to follow the procedure. Let's please do the right thing for this community and allow value cannabis retail done by a good player, not done by these. And there's a lot of discrepancy in the paperwork. So look at the paperwork. There's a lot of discrepancy where they use the same owner. One of the persons lives in the same building that the current owner lives at. I sent all the documentation, all the screenshots. This is not my opinion. This is fact-based. And I hope you do the right thing because this is going to affect Pelham Parkway because he's not only has he sold to underage, he also is smoking outside the premise. So I'm hoping this board does the right thing. Please do not vote for 7-Eleven Lighting. Thank you so much.
Genesis Navarre.
Sorry.
We have the borough president here. If possible, she would like to speak next.
Of course. Of course.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much to everyone. So first, don't put me on a time limit. I want to make sure that I get a lot out because this is an important moment for Community Board 11, and I have not had the opportunity to join you at your general board meetings in quite a while. So it's important that I'm here, but it's also important because of the message that I want to deliver. So first and foremost, good evening to everyone, to our district manager, to our board chair, to the executive members, and to all the new members that we have appointed in these past couple of months, all of our returning members, the members of our community that represent Community Board 11. Whether you live in Morris Park, you live in Pelham Parkway, Bronx Park East, Allerton, Pelham Gardens, Van Nest, Indian Village, you are a part of this community. And I want to say a couple of things and just preface my remarks around the fact that as the borough president, being in this position for a year, 11 months and 30 days, but I'm not counting. I ran for this position because I believe in the Bronx. I believe in the power of the people of this great county. I believe in the work and the transformation and the progress that has been made in this county. There was a time years ago when folks counted us out. We were devastated, we were burning, we were disinvested in, we were left behind, shortchanged, and ignored. But all of you, the people, the older adults, our seniors, the businesses, the entrepreneurs, everyone that saw the promise and the potential that this borough had then and still has today. For that, we are grateful. Because of the work that was started, that is the only reason why we can be here today. So the important part of this work and the fabric of our community boards, I want to make sure that everyone understands this is a volunteer position. No one signed up for this without an intention of doing something good. We are all working professionals. We come to this space, to this place with titles and responsibilities, and we want to make sure that at the end of the day, we are doing the jobs that we have been called to do. This work is about the people of Community Board 11. And as I travel around the borough, 12 community boards, 600 appointments that we make every year, 1 and 2 year appointments. We came into this office to Bronx Borough Hall to transform our community boards for a better cause. We digitized the application for community boards that had never been done before. We also did something that no other borough has done. The applications are in a second language. Did anyone notice that? It's in English and Espanol, because we believe that diversity is our greatest strength. And we believe that when you tap in to industries and people that have not been tapped into, you will get the very best of the Bronx, right? That's what we believe in. So digitizing the application, putting it in a second language, making sure that there's a greater process, working within the confines of where we are with the New York City Charter, Conflicts of Interest Board, and all the other agencies that guide us. And certainly we have limitations, but we also have a lot of latitude. So what you have seen with new community board members is diversity, young members, working professionals that bring different levels of experience to the table, urban planners, architects, designers, nurses, social workers, law enforcement, retired members of service. We wanted to make sure that each of our 12 boards, it's are going to move forward, whether you are dysfunctional. If you are in violation of that, changes are going to happen. That's just the reality. That is just the reality. And let me also say that in this work, none of this is personal. I will laugh with you the day after. I have to have.
Go on, you're in charge.
Something else that has come up is, so I've had problems with how the gallery operates currently.
Hold on, before you start, segue into the gallery, Jeremy. I know this is a big deal, but can we go through the agenda first and then add it where
Yeah,
it
that's
needs
number,
to?
well, I mean, Pledge of Allegiance and all those signs are self-evident, right?
Okay, so gallery, so number 3.
Yes, gallery.
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
So, is anybody concerned about how we currently operate with our gallery session at the full board, not committee, full board? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yes, I mean, I've always felt that the gallery session, a number of things. There should be a limitation as to how much time we dedicate to the gallery session. Registration for gallery session being done at the last minute when we're expected to post agendas 36 hours in advance. It just kind of doesn't make sense to me. So those are little procedural things that we need to rework, rethink. We've got to keep our meetings, moving in a productive way.
So if I may correct you, no offense, but it's actually 24 hours in advance we have to publish it.
Yeah.
We do have a requirement 36 hours in advance for those registering online that will be speaking online. But yeah, if we have to publish the agenda 24 hours in advance, those speakers should be there on the agenda 24 hours advance. We shouldn't allow this last minute sign up at our office or at the meeting. Naomi or somebody was going to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to understand completely. Is there an issue with the way that people are signing up? Like, do they know, they understand how to sign up? Like, because you just said that there's a way to sign up online, to speak online. Are they understanding that they, you know, when they get up there, they're supposed to be doing 36 hours? Because I think this has been going on for about, since I've been here, like 4 or 5 years. So there seems to be some kind of disconnect with signing up for speaking.
So during the pandemic, when we met fully remote, we enacted a rule 36 hours in advance because of the 24-hour rule. Because you tell me 24 hours in advance you want to speak, I'm sorry, I got to type your name in. I got to send it to Chris. I got to publish it. You know, when people sign up in person, they don't do that, right? Because historically, we never met online. We never had that issue. We never, you know, whoever signed up and spoke. We didn't have a website to publish. I mean, like, I don't know if you noticed, we didn't have a website before as district manager.
Right.
So, and the problem with the signups, so first of all, some people like to speak last, some people like to speak out of turn, whatever. I mean, I think people should speak when they register, as soon as they fill out the slip. I mean, if they're doing it online, I've had an issue. We've had issues where people don't know why they're speaking, why they're up there to speak. You've seen it. You see these people kind of fumbling. And now those are people in person, but also I had a woman that registered online. The topic she wanted to speak about was everything. I mean, I could be wrong, but we shouldn't allow people to speak about, I mean, this Community Board 11 in the Bronx, not Queens or Manhattan, right? So when I had this issue, luckily this person registered in advance, so I was able to flag it. I called the person. I said, "Are you going? I'm sorry. I'm trying to clarify what you actually want to speak about." And they said to me, "Oh, is this about Pelham Parkway?" No. And then I was like, "You tell me, because you were the one who registered." And then they told me someone else told them to sign up. And I said, "Okay, well, you know, I can put it down Pelham Parkway." You know, I didn't throw them off the list. They stayed on the list, but they didn't show up anyway. But again, if they register in advance, we have more than 24 hours to play with these, to toy with these things. That's why we set 36 hours back in the day, is to give us a full business day, basically from 9 in the morning to 5 p.m. the day before, to hash this out. And then 4:30, I send it to Chris. Here, Chris, publish this. These are the last remaining
so it appears to me there's a process problem. So my thing is, or my recommendation is that the person signs up, but they have to say what they're going to talk about. Because we had 20 people talk about Pelham Parkway. That wasted 2 hours of the board's time. And then we couldn't get to the issues that we needed to get to. So I think the process should be they sign up 36 hours in advance, what they're going to speak. And I'm hoping that your office can sort through and let people, you know, back or call them and say, you know, we already have someone speaking on this topic.
Yeah, and I probably was going to go with that. I'm not on my A game tonight. Okay, I'm not going to go into detail why. Just please bear with me. That's why Chris and Harriet are both here tonight. Chris, so there is a registration form on our website. If you go to the contact us page, Chris texted me. If you go to there's a registration form, and I could pull it up if you want to see it now. But you can select if you want to speak remotely, you want to speak in person. So we have that idea in advance. And I understand that not everybody's tech savvy. So then you call the office. Say you have a disability, so you can't use the.
All right. So let's do this, Jeremy, because let's see who here is against this idea. Who has the con side of this? I think most folks agree to the idea of signing up online before the meeting instead of signing up in person. Did anyone have an opposition to this idea?
I'm fine with it. sign up
Okay,
before.
anyone oppose? Anyone oppose? Any discussion about opposition?
I would just clarify that, Rich, with, doesn't matter if it's online, if you call the office, as long as it's 36 hours in advance. But ideally, it's online, and the sooner and they should be, you sign up, and whatever order you are on the agenda is when you should speak.
Okay, so this
You speak in the order in which you were, in which you registered.
Okay, so 24, 36. I think it's 36. Are you saying 36 or 24, Jeremy?
36 is, if you got to publish your agenda 24 hours in advance, if you give it to me, 24 hours and 1 minute before, it's
Ellen,
yeah.
I can't speak now. I'm out of
Sandy,
meeting.
can you mute, please? Thank you. Go ahead,
Because
Jeremy.
think about it, the meeting starts at 7 o'clock. So if you're going to email me at 6:59, we're not even in the office.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So I think 36 is good.
I'm fine with 36.
Are we making a motion?
No, we can't. We don't
Oh,
have
we can't.
So, Jeremy, how do you want to do this? I think most folks agree 36 hours before the meeting. Folks have to sign up. But I don't think we're going to have this for the next meeting.
So I think we
Warn
let
them.
it go for this Wednesday's meeting.
And warn them.
Bring it up,
Yeah.
vote on it on
That's a good
Wednesday.
idea.
There you go.
That's it. No more.
Motion for it on Wednesday.
That makes sense. Jeremy, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, of course, because we don't
Okay.
want to pretend that we're trying to curb
right.
people's right to speak, right?
No.
But can we add it to the agenda saying there's going to be a new business motion for 36
Well,
hours?
we can't.
In
We
order
can
to
add it to the
sign up.
agenda, but it won't be. We'll have to make a motion, and somebody will have to second it, right?
Right. I'm saying make it under new business, saying
Yeah.
that, like say something like new administrative rule or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just so that we don't forget, because sometimes we forget.
Well, maybe we should bring up at the very beginning, before the gallery session speakers speak, so in case they want to chime in, because
Isn't
you can do it
everything,
after that.
isn't everything up there already passed through committee or voted on already? Isn't this new business?
It is new business.
It would be new business, but this is the committee to come up in, and okay, I get you. Because it'll come up in leadership next month. That's what it will do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're not
Okay.
going to implement it on Wednesday, so we'll bring it up as new business, vote on it, and then for November, we follow the 36 hours.
I think it's also to include that the people that sign online, I send them to Jeremy in the order in which we receive them. And that's the order that they'll be put on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll mention that at the full board meeting next Wednesday.
But let me tell you something Harriet's complained to me about in the past, and that we've had a problem with in the past, that we've allowed in the past, that I don't think we should allow going forward. And it hasn't happened recently, but like, you sign up to speak, you should be the one speaking. You don't cede your time to somebody. To me, that makes ultimately no sense. What's the point of you registering if
I thought that was already in the bylaws. I thought that was already
Yes,
in the bylaws.
that was already.
it's in the bylaws? Are you sure about that?
I don't know about in the bylaws, but we've done it.
No. We had
It wasn't passed.
But
It was
I don't
passed in
think it
committee.
was. I think
motion I made last year.
Here's a copy of the bylaws.
Oh, I have somewhere.
It's all right. We'll figure it
I'll
out.
pull it up.
So I think for now, we have this 36-hour registration proposal for new business. Jeremy, let's move on.
Hold on. Yes, but we're going to take the time here to save us time in the long run, right? So
I can't
when it
vote
comes
for
to,
anything, so talking about it amongst ourselves is great, but there's no.
yes,
there's no
I know.
quorum.
So can we move
Much as I
to?
love it.
Yes, but can I say what I got to say? I mean, it's up to you. If you want me to stay silent, I'll stay silent.
Go on.
So, we believe that when you register is when you should speak, right?
Yes.
So that includes the slips that Chris is going to get. As soon as he gets it, I think Chris should write 1, 2 on each slip as he gets it filled out. And they should speak only in that order. You shouldn't diverge from that order.
Yep.
Also, we should look at who wants to speak and not have 5 people speak on the same topic.
That's usually a job we relegated to the Sergeant at Arms to rectify historically. Chris, am I wrong about that, Chris?
Well,
Fran with Sergeant at Arms would come over.
Yes. Rome wasn't built in a day. I think we should start small.
Yeah.
I got a
That's
question.
a whole nother argument.
Jeremy, I got a question.
Yeah.
If somebody steps number one and says, "Oh, I'm talking about Pelham Parkway," and somebody registered again, they're gonna talk about Pelham Parkway again. Do we stop them? Do we let them keep talking?
Can I intervene?
Yeah, no, of course.
What we should do is, one, speak for,
Pelham Park.
and then we ask for someone who wants to speak against it.
Okay.
And then we have both,
All right, not this.
not
thing, right.
5 or 7 for it, for against it,
And 7 against 4, yeah.
and no one on the opposition, right?
Correct.
So give the ability of for it, against it, and then we close it there.
And then another thing too, 2 minutes, we're not gonna give no more than 2 minutes, right?
I mean, the bylaws allow the chairperson to give up to an extra minute.
Also,
I mean, it's in the
that person
bylaw.
with
You can't stop that.
Well, they could ask the person if they're talking like for a certain committee, they ask, will you give them an extra minute?
Well, the bylaws allow the chairperson an extra minute. Chairperson.
So we'll give Madam Chairperson,
Right.
she'll let us know. They go give them an extra minute. We'll just give them an extra minute.
Right.
All right.
Okay, yeah,
Madam
sorry,
Chair.
sorry to be brusque, Rich. I just want to make sure we got an orderly meeting next week.
Sure.
But
Okay.
all right, what's next, Rich?
So no more new members. Chair's report. No more interfaith.
Jeremy, did you want to go over the 36-hour registration requirement?
I mean, this came up at leadership, like Rich said, we didn't have a quorum. So the idea is that, so we have to publish our agendas 24 hours in advance. And technically, we can't discuss something if it's on the agenda. So that would naturally include the gallery, right? So the idea is next month at leadership, we'll have a quorum and we'll vote. And anybody who wants to speak at the full board needs to register 36 hours in advance. Reason for that is, a good example I gave at leadership is we had somebody who signed up. Luckily, they signed up in time. They didn't sign up with the slip right before the meeting. They want to speak about everything. But that obviously didn't work for me, so I called the person. I figured out what was going. Well, somebody told them to sign up and speak. It's an abuse of our time. We want to minimize it. There should be no surprises at the full board meeting. Not every community board allows the public to speak at a committee meeting. We do. We're the exception. Not every community board live streams their meetings. Not every community board WebExes their meetings. All right. So we do more than enough. So that's what we're looking at doing the 36-hour. That's why no surprises. All right. So that's for the gallery. Anything else? Sure. They want to discuss it now or later. Well, no, we didn't, because we had.
Is it in the
bylaw? We're gonna do it at leadership. We just want to put the
Oh,
public on.
got it. Thank you. Street co-naming application for former board member Joe Rita.
So that's coming to the Transportation Committee. Oh, yeah. So one thing we talked about, last month and we put the public on notice about, and this is related to our discussion of the executive board, was in terms of, putting set times on the gallery. Well, it was really about registration. It was more about registration, I believe, right?
Yeah. So I think what Sandy's gonna do is talk to her contact.
Yeah.
And she's promised us she's gonna have an email with a response.
Well, I hope so, yes.
But that's actually kind of separate from what we talked about last month.
Well,
right?
because I think, like, so what we said was we need bring confirmation from the borough president on what the rules are. We need to be above board with this. Whatever we're gonna do, we need to get guidance from the borough president. I don't want to just go, it's her fault or it's her office's fault, but
Right, and we're
I want
reading, and you're saying about Community Board 8, but we don't know, is that legitimate?
And even if
And
it-
then if we
it-
open up
if
that
and
can of
even
worms.
and even if it is legitimate, I would like the borough president's office to face that reality that there are people doing things differently. So I would like them to write a proper policy for that issue instead of us kind of just following other people or doing whatever we want without having the written policy in front of us. Because it goes into a dangerous slope. This is when people start talking about what we're doing because we're just making things up. No, what we want to do is follow the borough president, who's our guiding light on this, and then go from there.
Yeah, but the 30-minute thing, that whole discussion, I mean, that came up in executive board, but that's really separate from the idea that we pushed last month, which was, I mean, unless this is what you specifically asked about, Sandy, but I don't believe it was based on what you said in the executive board meeting. The idea was that we require them to register in advance. The
Right.
gallery speakers, right? And we said we would talk about and vote on it this month. So separate from what CB8's doing with the 30-minute time limit, which is what came up in executive board. I mean, I just said that as like kind of a segue.
Okay.
But Jeremy, we have to abide by the rules that we set with the 24-hour limit, the 36-hour limit before the meeting that they have to sign up. They can't do it the last minute.
Hold on. So Ryan had something real quick.
Yeah, I was looking at something else the other day, and the city did this whole community board study, and in it they talked about what community boards actually have to do, and what we have to do, and the rules that are set down for us are pretty bare bones. Like we have to have one meeting, we have to elect officers, and might be something else we have to do, community budget requests, and that's pretty much it. So I think that we have a lot of freedom in crafting these rules, and I'm sure that the borough president's office will be able to give us something, but I don't think that they're going to have a set list of guidance. I think that everyone's doing it differently because there's not a
No, and I think that's that if they don't, that's perfect for us. Then we write our own rules. I'm not opposed to that. But I think we should try to get something and say, hey, we tried to get something. We couldn't get anything. Now we have to kind of brace ourselves to write our own rules. Does that make sense, Jeremy?
Yeah, it does. So remember, we had this 36-hour rule with register in advance limit during the pandemic, because especially during the pandemic, we were all over the place and we needed something set. And so again, look, this is not a major thing, like currently. I mean, I think the one nice thing that Sandy brought up in the executive board that is relevant is that the borough president's office, again, we want it in writing, but they said no ceding of time. It's not allowed, and therefore we shouldn't allow it, right, Sandy?
What?
The seating of time.
Right.
But that'll be included with the other requests.
Yeah, but they said no seating. When I spoke to Kenny, he said no, there was no such thing as seating of time in their rules. It's not the federal government where, in the committees they're seating. But they said you could have a limited number of speakers in the gallery session. So do we want to limit it to 8?
So we're gonna once we get confirmation, we'll decide on it. So hopefully we get that by Thursday. So for now, let's punt. Let's punt. That's fine. But as long as we get something. But for now, let's punt on this one since we don't have clarification.
Is Kenny the contact person when you have these kinds of questions?
Well, he's our liaison with the borough president. So he's supposed to be.
Yeah,
But the registering in advance, can we settle that since we did publicly announce it last month that we would do it here tonight? Or do you want to table it?
I mean, it's up to you guys. What do you guys want to decide on that now? Yeah?
About what?
72 hours, so 3 days.
No.
36 hours is what we.
36. Oh, okay, sorry, 36.
36 or 24. Yeah, 36 gives you enough time. Right? That's
From
fair.
the time that the agenda is published.
Right, for the time the agenda is published and for the time they have to request.
So,
Prior to the meeting, 36 hours
Correct.
prior to the meeting.
Yeah, yeah,
So-
36 hours is at least 36 hours before. You could do it a week before, 2 weeks.
Right, prior to the meeting.
Right.
So just for clarification, are we just doing the 36 hours and if they show up, they can't?
that's what
sign
I'm
again?
asking.
Or
That's
Yeah, that's the idea.
steps still in play?
No more paper slips is the idea.
No more paper slips. And we could have a limit on the number of people in the gallery.
So what is our objective? Just to limit the number of people.
To move the meeting along.
Well, I mean, that's a proper question, because let's be fair about the question. Folks are gonna say we're limiting their voice, right?
Right.
Because if folks show up, they're gonna go, oh, I can't talk because I didn't sign up 36 hours ago. You know, there's a conflict there.
But you're talking about the agitators. I mean, I hate to be blunt like that.
Correct, I agree.
You're talking about the same old, and to be honest, there has to be a level of, there has to be a policy, there has to be a tone, and you have to set it one way or another. You can't please everyone, but we're not gonna sit in a meeting and have 5 people talk about the same subject and go on and on and on.
Right.
It has to be capped.
I just said, should we have?
That's why I'm
Go ahead. Very well.
Should we have something where like the chair will have discretion to allow an individual to speak? I just don't want to have like, you're right, but then you can have a situation where the agitators sign up, right?
Well, they're
Ahead
gonna
of
sign up anyway.
someone of that, right?
You can sign up, but I mean, it's 2 different topics, right? Signing up, it's meeting the 36-hour mark, honoring that, and putting your foot down and honoring that, not wavering, right?
Then they'll
And then the other,
36 hours.
36
hours.
Right. To before the meeting.
I understand your point, but my concern is what if we have an older community board member?
That's what I'm saying, there should be.
Can't use the computer, who has an issue
Or
that they should
discretion
come to
to
the
make
meeting to
exceptions.
discuss.
So does Jeremy, quick question, you're next. Right, does the chair still have the discretion to pick a voice at the meeting, the full board meeting?
So I don't think they have that power currently.
I thought we gave, but the chair had powers to extend time, no?
Yeah.
To someone who's already speaking in.
That's separate from registration.
I mean,
historically, the way we've always done it, you have to register before the meeting starts. Once the meeting starts, that's it. So
Correct.
the idea is not to limit the number of speakers. The idea is to so remember, we're extremely liberal compared to a lot of other community. You can ask some of the people who attend Community Board 10. They don't allow members of the public to speak in committee. We do. At every single committee meeting, we allow that. The idea is that there should be no surprises at the full board. Our time should not be abused, especially by agitators.
My question is, okay, so whenever you have a bright line rule like that, you can have problems, right? Because within 24 hours, someone might find something that is very relevant to the community that is very important. And we should, I think, give the chair the opportunity to make an exception so that an individual that the chair determines has something of importance to say.
Ron,
is able to
I love what you're reaching. Like seriously, if that's the case, they can send an email, they can call.
I got it.
Right? And they can let Jeremy, staff, the chair of whatever committee it's concerning. And if it meets by the time the meeting, then Cynthia can get it and she can make the announcement when it's her time to speak. Like, we can't. You're not gonna please everyone, but at the same time, we don't need to be in meetings till 10 o'clock.
I agree.
Right? And we need to have some relevancy to it, and it needs to be consistent.
It's 100% right. I second, third, and quadruple that.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with
So-
Wendy.
Hold on, Ryan's next. Go ahead, Ryan.
My cutoff is 9. We've done 11 o'clock too.
Yeah.
Ryan has the floor.
One challenge with that is that our minutes have to be published 36 hours in advance. So either we do the minutes early, not the minutes, the agenda earlier, so that people can look at the agenda to know what's being discussed and have an idea what they might want to talk about, or we put it to 24 hours, which then that's tough because it's harder. I know it's harder on office staff to print things up that morning. But I think having the 36 hours be the same time for the agenda to be up and the limit on when to sign up to speak is
Coterminous has to be the same.
Well, no. So let's not. So let's be clear on what is legally required. Legally required, we have to show the location of the meeting 72 hours in advance. That's why we typically publish the agenda 72 hours in advance. In terms of the content, it's 24 hours in advance. And why during the pandemic we set the registration requirement at 36 hours is so it gives us that full business day to work out any issues. So for example, and I think I brought this up at last month, we had a member of the public who registered. They wanted to speak about everything. That's what they said. And so I reached out to them and I clarified, what exactly they wanted. So it gives us that, because if we have to publish it basically by 5 o'clock the day before when Chris punches out, I can publish it up till 7 o'clock, but it's supposed to be 24 hours in advance. And when we did set that rule, we did codify it. It is in our bylaws for remote meetings. They have to be they do have to register 36 hours in advance. What didn't make it into the bylaws, but was discussed, and maybe the bylaws should be amended in this regard, is the board did give me the power to make exceptions. And so what I did when we first enacted this rule, I made exceptions for Diana Finch, Robert Press, Roxanne Delgado. I made exception for basically everybody that asked for it, but that didn't do it the correct way. And so maybe that should be the standard again. And if somebody, doesn't mean they have to register online necessarily. If they're old, they have registration issues, they want to call, we do it that way, fine.
If I can, okay, I agree with the 36 hours. However, I think that there are individuals, not just seniors, that are not computer savvy. Therefore, I do believe that people should be able to register not after the meeting starts, but prior to the meeting starting. And I also agree that the time for the gallery session should be limited, which means we have to be mindful of how many extensions we're giving people because everyone may not get an opportunity to speak.
Personally, I don't think people should be allowed the last minute to ask to speak. If they want, then they'll do it at the next meeting and sign up in the time frame that they have. Because you could have people the last minute all rushing in, and if we give them all that time, it could be an hour in the gallery session.
Co-creator vote.
And if I may add to that, Chair, Mr. Reynoso?
Yeah, what's up?
So one thing, an argument that when I've talked to every member about this, first of all, every member I've spoken to, they thought it's a good idea that we do streamline this. It's about streamlining our meetings. An argument that always comes up in the back of my mind, and I've relayed to some of you, is, this country was founded on the idea that, ideally it's an orderly, we're not going to give into the mob rule or passions of the day, right? Like, which is what we sometimes get. We get these people, they're agitated, they come just for a single issue. Again, we're very liberal with our committee policy. I mean, not every committee board live streams either, or has a hybrid. And I can name boards, but just trust me, some of you know that other committee boards, not only do they not allow people to speak in committee, they don't even have a WebEx option like we do.
Okay. Yeah. So, do you have a motion, Jeremy?
No, well, we don't do motions till after the gallery.
Oh, that's Cynthia.
Oh, okay.
That's got my job.
All right, so we're gonna hold till after the gallery to vote for this.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Now,
next.
this is Mr. Vice Chairman. This is close to the topic. Could I say something?
Yeah,
Close to the
go
topic?
for it.
Jeremy used the word. I used to be in the corporate world about 97 years ago, and when they wanted to do something right, they streamlined stuff. They streamlined people, they streamlined meetings. I think one of these days, hello there, how are you? It's like one of these days, I think we gotta go from A to Z on the agenda for the full board meeting and see, this takes 12 minutes. How can we knock it to 8 minutes? This now takes, my biggest fight, and I'm gonna win this one of these days. Those politician ladies and men that come at the end, oh, we're having a pizza party and we're giving out briefcases and we're giving out this. Put that on the table. I know you like to come and use the microphone and greetings from this councilwoman and this man. That takes 15 minutes. And then, oh, who's here from here? Who's here from Bailey? Who's here from this? It's like a game. Like a game. Who's here? Knock that out. I've been fighting for that for a long, long time. Get that out. You don't need it.
So just to piggyback off of what Rabbi said, so in Manhattan, the politicians speak first. They speak before you get into meetings. That way it's in and out, and they only have 5 minutes. And it's 5 minutes together, a minute, a minute, a minute, a minute.
So
And
that's
that's
it. Each one only has a
Each
minute.
one, they have a minute to speak, and that's it.
The
And
real
I've been saying this, and
real ones. Not the ones that schlep along with.
No, and I've been saying that
Oh,
they should be in the front so that they're not sitting through whatever they're sitting through.
Yeah.
And they're up and out, and you don't have anything. But to keep them at the end,
Yeah.
just like Rabbi says, it makes the meeting a lot longer because half of them don't even show up, right?
Yeah.
So you might as well just go through that during the gallery session because that's where it would fall under, and then keep it moving.
And if the real Maramito and whatever his other guy's name is shows up, I'll be honorable. I'll let the guy speak. But to have the schlep along to speak, I know how to read. Most of the people on this table know how to read. We can look at their flyer. Thank you for coming. And I guarantee you, most of them wouldn't show up. We let them just put out the flyer.
Oh, so you don't want their reps, you want the real job.
That's correct.
Okay.
I think it's that important. And the truth of the matter is we don't see most of them. So why don't they show up one time? Sorry.
No, I hear you. No, it's a good,
No,
point.
it's a good point.
But my point is streamline
Yeah.
the whole thing.
No, yeah.
I get at home by 10 o'clock. Everybody could get home by 10 o'clock. No more this 11 o'clock stuff. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, no more. We had the last year, 11 o'clock, we must have 3.
Oh, it was more than 11. We got home almost midnight.
All right, Jeremy, what's next?
One idea is that before the elected reps speak, we just remind them, please do not give out your contact info. If anybody needs it, we will get it. We will direct that person because they always waste time.
Yep.
So unless there's anything else for the agenda, are we missing? If there's anything else, let us know now.
I mean, put it back up real quick.
Yeah. I am going to move from new business, what we talked about. So this was last month part. On grassroots, did we finally decide on a date?
So let's punt till leadership then on this. Moving on to bylaws. First agenda item is committee chair elections. Talk to me. What does this mean?
Yeah, I didn't understand that one. I know I'm only a guest. But
No, you're one of us, Sandy.
but I looked at, but I know, but I'm not.
No, I know.
You're here with us.
You're
and
here
you're
with
not
us,
like,
yeah.
oh,
Jeremy, did you update the bylaw where I, texted you the change that was voted on in June about the committee meetings not having to occur every month? That David sent us I sent you the link to what he told us we passed in June.
I'm actually going to chime in here really quickly, and I'm sorry if I'm being rude, only because
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah. This is agenda.
So I saw the email. This was June of 2022. The full board
voted, mind you, this is prior to my joining the board. So June of 2022, the board voted and approved a bylaw amendment that basically says committees can only meet when they have business to conduct, or if the committee chair decides that the committee should meet.
You want me to, yeah.
Now, unfortunately, that never actually made it into the bylaws.
But it should, it says this change was approved.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just kind of throwing out laying out the situation. So it's like, it's been 2 years since this bylaw proposal was passed, and it's never made it into the bylaws. I don't know,
Sandy, let her finish before you interrupt, please.
I'm troubled by that, only because number one, this is like something completely new that I've never seen before. And I'm not saying that it's not valid. I'm saying that it never made it into the our guiding document. So the people that are currently on the board who've joined after 2022 have been operating with no knowledge of this bylaw amendment. And it's not a question of, it's not, I don't want to like pass blame or anything like that. But my question is, how do we move forward with a bylaw amendment that was passed 2 years ago that's never actually made it into the bylaws? Number one. And number two, I personally have trouble with that sort of language. I don't know if it's appropriate to say, let's revisit it or not. I don't know what the legalities are, because personally, I don't know. Shouldn't we always have business to conduct?
Well, I think right now, the committees are going by that even without that being in the bylaws, because they don't always have meetings. And if they don't have a guest, some of them won't hold a meeting, even though that's not the point of the committees, is having guests. It's supposed to be, for the community to be able to come and discuss stuff. But I think at this point, they are just working like that, even without the bylaw. And since it's so old.
Yeah, no, and my opinion is, I thought, I was under the impression we had to have meetings every month, but our culture has been that folks aren't canceling for whatever reason. So this is the rule based. We have rules, but then we have the culture, right? So it's two different things. I was under the impression that we always had to have. That's why I was, even if I had no guests, I try to make something up. But maybe that's something we need to discuss at leadership. Or we don't have quorum now, but we need to come to an agreement.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think a committee should meet if there's some reason why they can't, like on a reason why they can't meet for whatever reason, that's fine. But there should be as many meetings as you can, because even if you don't have a guest, and even if you open a meeting and you only hear for 15, 20 minutes because nobody shows up from the public that has anything, at least the opportunity for the community to speak to the committee was there.
That's the point.
And we can't say that, they can't say that, hey, they're not holding meetings. Yeah, we're holding meetings, but nobody's coming. But at least we held a 15-minute meeting and nobody showed up. Because I think that's the importance of the committees.
Yeah.
So to your point, Veronica, I think, and I don't know if this is something that should be codified or not, I'm going to throw it out there for everyone to consider. I think that if the committee is not going to hold an official meeting, then that committee should consider holding a public hearing on that particular committee. So let's say, I don't know, sanitation chooses not to have a meeting for whatever reason because they don't have a particular agenda item in mind. Well, then maybe that's a good opportunity to have a public hearing for the community to chime in. It can be done fully remote because you don't need an in-person quorum because it's a public hearing. And we wouldn't need a quorum to vote on anything because we're just hearing from the public and perhaps establishing other agenda items for subsequent meetings.
So we don't have to have an actual subject for a public hearing. It could just be a public hearing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or it's committee.
That's a good workaround.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought we always had to have a reason or a rationale for having a public hearing. So what do we do, Cynthia?
She's on the phone.
So my assumption is, if we know, if the committee person knows they're not gonna have a meeting, then they call the public hearing and they just hear from the public. That's what I'm understanding. Yes, you said, yeah, okay.
Yes,
Yeah?
and it could be fully, and you know, the advantage of that is that it's fully remote. So
Yeah.
no one has to come to the office and worry about the tech and this and that and quorum and wrangling people up. So So I have to hop off, but I'll hop back on as soon as I can.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So that's
Thanks,
a good
guys.
idea.
That's a good
That's a
idea.
good
That's
idea.
very interesting.
Yeah, for the public
Thank you.
hearing. All right.
Alright.
So the committee chair election, that was that. The 72-hour written oral statement.
Did we actually touch on the committee chair elections?
Sign in.
Well, no, this is, so these are all basically left over from last month. Sandy was supposed to have a bylaws meeting, but, she had to cancel. So it's really kind of a placeholder. These are like almost wish list things. Or
Okay.
not wish list, but things we need to address. So I can explain them if that's helpful, or we can just move on.
Yeah, no, explain that because I was gonna email you today. I wasn't sure what this was one about.
Okay, so the committee chair election is hold on one second, hold on.
Gallery session.
Gallery session.
Oh, so we talked about limiting or requiring people registering in advance, right?
Oh, I would like to talk about this, but since we can't vote on it, I didn't want to open a can of worms discussing it, if that makes any sense.
Can I
Yeah,
mention?
we were gonna vote on leadership anyway, right?
Okay, I spoke
If we
to
have a
someone,
quorum.
Jeremy, I spoke just as a point of information. I spoke to someone at the borough president's office about the gallery session, so we'll bring it up.
And leadership, yes.
Yes, we will bring it up.
Okay, that's fine.
And I'll tell you what they said.
Okay. So I'll call on you for that. Next is other suggestions, tweaks. I mean,
Well, did she just want to tell us now so we have an idea?
Oh, I
Or-
told, okay. They said, one, we cannot limit the time. Remember, someone wanted the time, the gallery session should be 30 minutes. They said you can't do that. However, you can limit the number of speakers per gallery session. Say 8 speakers, 2 minutes each, plus the answering in question, which would give you the 30 minutes or so that we wanted. And seating is not allowed according to the charter.
okay.
So that's what
Ooh.
I was told. Oh, yeah, maybe done in the federal level, in the
Yeah.
committees or whatever. But they said no. But I like the idea, with the 70, if we say you have to have your time frame and you have to put in your name 12 hours before the meeting, that's it. You can't do it the last minute.
So they
Yeah,
said, yeah,
Like the time that we had,
go ahead, Jeremy.
36 hours or the 24.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy.
So I want to be clear, you can't limit. So what did they say you can't
They
do?
said they can't, someone brought up about limiting the time of the gallery session, 30 minutes per session for the gallery. They said you can't do that, but you can limit the number of gallery speakers.
So 10.
So hold on.
10, right.
If they're saying we can't do that, how come CB8 has always done that?
I don't know, but I am telling you what I was told.
Can't
Understand, but I think we need to push back on that because
Well,
if they're doing it, that
but
doesn't make sense.
it makes sense if you say 30 minutes for gallery session. If you say you have 10 people or 8 or whatever, and that's 2 minutes. So say 10 times 2 is 20 plus the give and take back, there's your 30 minutes.
Yeah, but I understand what Jeremy's saying. It doesn't make sense because if you're limiting it to 30 minutes, if somebody's not gonna be able to speak, if we reach the 30-minute mark, so everyone's supposed to be able to speak. But if you limit it to 10 gallery speakers and more than 10 people want to speak, but they got there after the 10th person was signed up, then they're not allowed to speak.
Right,
It
but
violates the same thing.
But then they could put it on for the next meeting, or they've come in late, or they forgot that they had to sign in. You know, for filling it in with that time frame of like 36 hours or whatever. I gotta look at the Bible. I didn't bring them with me, whatever it was. That's what I was told. I could check it again.
Well, I would ask about CBA. CBA only allows 5 speakers a night, 30 minutes at most for the entire gallery. And they've done that. They've done that. They've done that for years. It's longer than I've been DM.
We're gonna have to get something on paper, email from the borough president.
I'll have to again.
Because
in the meantime, their bylaws are available online, so you can read it for yourself.
I completely believe that the other community board does that, but I mean, maybe they're not. Maybe the BP isn't aware of it. Yeah, maybe they're flying under radar.
And then if we question,
I know, then they get caught. And then they blame Jeremy.
No, they're not under the radar. They're usually full of lawyers. They trust me.
Okay.
When Chris will be at leadership. Chris can tell you he personally went there as a borough president rep, and this is what they do.
No, I hear you, but I think again I love being above board. It's my favorite word. I think we should get something on paper. So if we do vote on limiting time, we get it. We get something on policy from the borough president. Say, hey, this is what's in the policy. You know, this is what we can do. I don't want to willy-nilly restrict time for folks to talk.
I know what I heard with the, no setting of a time, of an actual time. And then we talked about speakers. So I go, someone's going to put in for 12 and I could say, no, we only want 8. And then we would get you a 10, Richard, working that kind of system. But.
Okay, so.
All right, I will go back again and.
Ask them to put it in writing.
Please, if you could do that, that'd be great. Okay.
Do that.
Okay. Moving on next, because the gallery wants to speak. Board members stepping down from committees. What do we have? Roxanne, go for it. You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, you like to limit time. Just to let you know, the executive board agenda was posted under the leadership committee hyperlink. So obviously the actual leadership agenda was not available till after 2:30 p.m. today. After I send your DM and the other CC on it, that the agenda posted under leadership committee was actually the executive meeting agenda, which I have the screenshot. So basically, committee was not notified within 24 hours of what will be discussed in your next meeting at 7 p.m. Secondly, none of my emails have been responded regarding if my FOIL request was done, as the full board voted on to make a FOIL request to Parks over 4 weeks ago. My email regarding OMB, whether the budget committee actually sent anything to OMB regarding the FY26 Committee Board 11 fiscal needs and priorities, that has not been responded. Minutes are still missing for full board and committee since beginning of this year, Feb, March, April, May, June. And just recently, treasury reports for over a year was just posted on your site. And you're busy arguing or trying to limit the community. That really should be ashamed of yourself, because you guys are not doing your part, but you want to limit community input. And I don't know why you're so against community input. And that 72-hour notice was initially posted for online because the current owner called out Committee Board 11 for the bad behavior of targeting her business and making false accusation against her personally and her business. That was in the Bronx Times. You could Google Curvin's owner. And she came up to the board. After she left, they put that 72-hour notice for online participation. Now you do it in person. Meanwhile, you don't have to put people's name on their agenda, by the way. That's not required. It is required to post your agenda within 24 hours, which was not done today for leadership meeting. So I don't know why this board continues, but you're your own worst enemy, because you're not harming the community. You are indirectly, but people don't really care much for this board because of how you're behaving. Why are you letting this DM run this meeting and making you limit community input? Why are you allowing this to happen? When
Thank
this
you,
board is
Roxanne. Appreciate it.
like I said, you just shut me down because you don't
I
really
gave you
care.
2 minutes. You spoke for 2 minutes. All right. I gave you
Yeah,
a 10
that's
second
enough.
warning.
I brought something
That's
very
it.
important and
Done.
just
All
shut me
right.
down. You don't want to
Appreciate
follow
it.
up on anything I said, right?
Well, that's it. That's all we have for now. Come back to leadership. We can talk more. Next.
First of all, next.
So Rich, if you,
I'm not
Rich, if you
allowing
want me to
responses.
address,
I'm shutting this down now. No back and forth. Who's next?
yeah, it's not back and forth, Rich. If you just want me to
Robert Press,
clarify.
please. Robert Press, please.
Rich, I just want to say you're doing an excellent job tonight in the absence of the chair. And it's a bad thing that you don't have a quorum tonight. I hope that problem gets solved because this board and the community needs this board and its committees to be meeting because we're going to be going through such massive changes very soon. So it's imperative that the committees meet and give the information to the community. And I just want to say, as I put in the minutes, as a former Community Board 8 member, we never limited time. We limited to 3 minutes a person speaking, number one. But we had a gallery session one time when we were voting on the Putnam issue that ran over 1 hour, the gallery session. So I just want you to know that. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, we have no motions, we have no quorum. Old business, Peace December,